Back to school time means new residents coming to Wilshire as well, out of the school cycle finally, sort of. Let me introduce to you, in case you've not yet met them, this is Kevin Sinclair and Jakob Topper, who are our incoming class of pastoral residents. And if you've not had the opportunity to say hello to them, I invite you today after the service to come by and greet them, the first of many times, I hope. So Kevin and Jakob, tell us a little bit about where you've come from to come to Wilshire. Where have you been most recently, and what have you been doing?
For the last 8 years, I have been serving as the minister to youth and of missions at South Main Baptist Church in Houston, Texas.
I have been at Second Baptist Church serving the youth there as their youth pastor for the last 3 years. It's a beautiful sister church to Wilshire of our kind of brand of Baptist. So glad to be here.
In Lubbock, Texas.
In Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah, in case you're wondering. Very good. So it's interesting that we have two incoming residents coming out of youth ministry here. What has been your path to lead you to leave youth ministry behind and feel called to senior pastor ministry? What's been going on in your own lives?
Well, I first felt a call to ministry when I was 18 to preaching, and then shortly thereafter at Mount Lebanon Baptist Camp just down the way from here to youth ministry. And after doing youth ministry for 11 years, which is a lot of lock-ins, in case you didn't know, I started teaching a small group at South Main for adults. And so it was my first time kind of teaching adults. And I realized how hungry I was for the kind of conversations that we could have and the conversations about the biblical text and theology. And then having more and more preaching opportunity at South Main, it became quite evident. And Cameron Mason, Vickery, called me and said, "Hey, would you like to do the residency?" And I said, "No, I think I'm too old. I'm 34, but fortunately I'm not, and I'm so grateful to be here."
I loved my time serving with youth. It was a wonderful experience, but ultimately I concluded that I feel most alive when I'm able to use my gifts across the broader spectrum of the church. And so, though I loved youth, I also love or find a deep sense of purpose being in hospital rooms and retirement communities, and especially behind the pulpit. Took steps in that direction.
Great. Thanks, guys. So along this way of discernment in your own lives, who have been some figures, who are some people who've helped you along the way?
Well, certainly my pastor at Royal Lane, Ray Vickery, who's Garrett's dad, was a very important person who kind of led me into this weird little world called Cooperative Baptist Fellowship life. And then being able to do an internship here in 2007 with Darren as my supervisor, and getting to meet George and Mark and Doug and everyone here, and Jerry and those folks who've been along the way. And of course, my pastor in Houston, Steve Wells, has been a wonderful and interesting and fascinating character who has encouraged me and cultivated me along the way.
It's quite the Hall of Fame of pastors. My most immediate and significant influence is Ryan Price. He's the pastor of Second Baptist Church in Lubbock, where I come from. He is a great preacher, a great leader, but he really embodies what it is to be a pastor, which is a little bit different. He taught me that, or showed me really, that being a pastor often requires more than I have to give, but that I am most whole and most human when giving that.
Beautifully said. So finally, each of you could have gone straight from the churches you were into a pastorate somewhere, but you chose to come here and spend 2 years in our residency program. Why?
A lot of people ask that question, and for me, the answer is, why not the residency? I have loved and appreciated and deeply valued this program for almost a decade, and have loved all the residents that I've known that have gone through here. And you know, it took Paul 3 years in Arabia to work out his call, so I figure, what's 2 years in Dallas?
That's good. I believe with the world that we live in and the church that we have, that it really demands that each and every one of us, lay people and pastors alike, be our absolute best. And I saw this residency for me as a path to being the best me and the best pastor I could be.
Well, welcome, Jacob. Welcome, Kevin. Also, you may have met last week. Jacob is married, and his wife, Alyssa, is right back here, about halfway back. And if you've not met either of them, please reach out a hand of friendship and introduce yourself to them. And within a week or two, they're going to know all of your names. It's all good. All right? Welcome.